This is the Lyndsay Stafford Show.
All right, welcome back to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. Today we are featuring the series of local legends here in Middle Tennessee, and I have my good friend and real estate agent Brian Cournoyer here today. Am I saying Cournoyer? I can't even say your name right.
Yeah, you just kind of stumble through it. That's what most people do. I say, you say it fast.
I'm just going to say Brian Cournoyer here with me today, and Brian is a top Nashville agent. He does residential and commercial real estate, but he has a background that's kind of interesting, and so we're going to hear from Brian today, his journey. He's also a dad of 3 and has a rock star wife that does some amazing things, and he supports her in that journey.
That'll be the best part of the show.
It always will be the best part of the show, Megan. We know that. And his history is in pageants, so that's kind of interesting. So stay tuned, stay with us, because we're going to talk about that. Brian, thank you for being here today.
Wasn't expecting to go there. We're going to go way back.
I told you that. I told you we were going to do that.
It's all about all of your past experiences bring
100%.
Exactly.
It all makes you who you are today.
Make you a well-rounded person today. Yes, they all count.
So, Brian, tell us a little bit about you and your business, who you are.
Brian Cournoyer, Compass Real Estate, run the BC team here in the greater Nashville area. Moved here from New York City, grew up in...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, grew up in Seattle, lived in Texas for 6 years. My wife and I got married. She was a local TV person there. Her job took us to New York City, did that for a number of years. I ran my event company there. And then we moved to Nashville when we started having kids, because it's darn hard to raise kids in Manhattan.
I can't even imagine.
So that was 12 years ago. So I like to say we moved here to Nashville before it was cool.
Yeah, so did I. We're not native, but pretty much now.
Right. Yeah, so we're like the old timers here.
Yeah. So you've been here 12 years, and you operate your business out of Franklin.
Yep.
Franklin, Brentwood area, right? And your kids are, how old are they?
Live in Brentwood now. We just moved from Franklin to Brentwood. We've got 3 kids, 13, 9, and 4. And life is full. Life is amazing. We've had a bunch of success in the real estate world, which is a ton of fun. And my wife still travels back and forth to New York City. And life's just amazing. God is good.
Yeah, what I love about what you do is the balance of everything. And actually, that was why we first connected, because you truly are all about your family, about your kids, about your wife, about what you guys are doing in your business, and you tie it all together. And a lot of people don't think you can do that. So there's this, I want to talk a little bit about this belief that if you are a man, especially, right? You and I have talked about this, so I know I can talk about it with you. There's this belief that like you don't have to do the parenting thing to the extent that maybe a woman does. And I might make some enemies on this, but it's my show, so I can say that. But you do it all. Right? You're very
I have
involved.
Guy friends that are like, I don't even know how to operate the washing machine. And I'm just like, that's just shameful. Like, you should be embarrassed by that.
You should be embarrassed by that.
Like,
even my son knows how to operate the washing machine.
Yes, it's a team. It's a team, My wife, who works full time, as I mentioned, her job took us to New York City. We moved here. She travels back and forth to New York City. She struggles to find women's groups that she really connects with, because they're always doing a Bible study in the middle of the day. And she's like, well, I'm at work or, whatever. So yeah, it's just a different.
I can relate to that.
Balance. People talk about work-life balance. I believe that's defined independently for each individual person. You have to find your own work-life balance. But yeah, this concept that the guy just goes out and works and has nothing to do with the family and the kids, I think is just nonsense. My youngest is 4. So in 14 years, when she goes off to college, guess what I can do? I can go work all I want.
All day long, every day.
All day long, I can work every day. But if I leave the office at 2:30 today or 3 o'clock today, because I want to go get my kids from school and I want to actually take them to sports and be involved, do I make a little bit less money? Sure. Am I, starving on the vine? We're fine.
Right.
Let's pour into what's important.
And I love that. Well, I love that inspiration, because I do think that for women, it's the same thing. I think you can get caught in this like work. And I was there. I worked in corporate for 20 years. So I was in the space of, I literally have to be where I'm supposed to be today. But with the freedom of real estate and owning your business, you can plan around your kids. And we've worked together for a couple of years now. So I know you do that. You are actually walking the walk, not just saying that. You are like, I've got to be at the kids for this, or, Megan's traveling, I'm doing this. And
And it bites both ways, because sometimes by having a flexible schedule, that means that on Saturday when we think we're going somewhere and all of a sudden I have to go to work.
Right.
It bites both ways. But yes, that's why I say everyone defines their own work-life balance. But no, it's been great. Megan continues to chase after all of her stuff professionally. I can chase after all mine. We can really pour into all three of our kids' lives, which again, you only have a small window to do that.
Sure thing.
So let's just soak that up right now. And Nashville's, I think, one of the best places in the country to live. It's the first place we moved by choice, not for a job.
Sure.
So if you want a good place to live, good people, good schools, good churches, a phenomenal business environment, but this is a good spot to be to pour into family.
Yeah.
So that's my Nashville plug for the day.
I love that. Well, and if you're looking to move to Nashville, go ahead and look up Brian Cournoyer. Where can they find you, by the way? Can you share that with other listeners?
Yeah, you can just Google my name, or Brian Cournoyer, Compass Real Estate.
You're going to have to spell it for everybody, Brian.
The BC.team.
There you go.
It would THEBC.team. You can find me on there.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
So when you think about real estate and how it's allowed you to have that flexibility to be very present for your family, what advice would you give somebody that's looking to start their own business, or that has kind of started but maybe doesn't really know where to go? What advice would you give someone based on what you've learned along the way?
Boy, that's a big question.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah, wow,
there.
We can go a lot of different directions with that. Trying to give a macro answer to that, and also talk specifically to real estate. Let me see if I can back into that.
Sure.
There's a great book that I read called The Go-Giver.
It's a great book.
It's a short book. It's an easy read.
Yeah.
But the concept is, and this applies to any business that you're in, is don't go into your business thinking, how do I prospect? How do I get deals? How do I, if I meet with you, what can you do for me?
Right.
What can you do for me? Anybody I meet, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a house? Go out there in the world and just try to serve others. Mm-hmm. Go serve others. Spend your time serving other people, pouring into their businesses. Yeah. People know what I do. I sell real estate, and I work that into every conversation, but I lead with, what can I do for you? And that relationship-based marketing. Build your business around relationships, and the business will come. The business will come, whatever your industry
I love that.
is. And
you go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You can put too much time around, these business coaches drive me nuts. You need to get in the office and be prospecting for 2 hours a day. You need to be on the phones, hammering the phones. Like, if I want to hate my life, that's what I need to do. Or I could come in and go meet people and see how to serve them in their businesses and trust that the business will come.
Right.
I play very little golf. I would love to play golf, but I have 3 kids and a wife that travels for work. But I played yesterday, and while I was playing golf,
you played on Monday.
I did. This is a super busy week.
But you played it was a charity.
It was a charity event. I said I haven't played golf twice in a month in as long as I can remember, and I played golf twice this week. But yesterday, as I was playing, I got 2 phone calls from people I had never met, never heard of, and both of them said, "Hey, can you come by this week? We need to list our house." And the guys I was playing with were like, "Dude, you go play golf, you get business." Yeah. I'm like, well, I don't know if that directly correlates today, but it was all seeds that had been planted.
Sure.
I found out where they'd gotten my name, and all just people that I had helped in their business that thought of me when someone came to them, and they called me that day, and I'm going to meet one today right after this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, it goes back to, and I know you and I have that same belief, and we also happen to be in BNI, not the same group, but the whole thought of giver's gain, right? Is you're not going into each conversation, and that's something I don't want to work with business owners that the conversation is, well, what can you do for me? I had somebody once say to me, "You think we can get that closed by the end of the month?" And I was like, I don't actually think I want to buy this product from you now, because it's about your deadline, not mine, right? And you don't operate that way, but that's how you've been able to grow your business. And that is, that's the way, when you're looking to serve other people,
it's really hard to do though, because people say, that all sounds great, Brian, but I have bills to pay at the end of this month, and now I need deals, and I get that, but that you just have to pour the energy into going out and building those relationships. It's not less work. It's not like, well, God will provide. It's that old saying,
and I know you're a Christian, so you can say that.
You have to go out and do the work.
Right.
Get out, meet people, just go enjoy what you're doing and serve others, and trust that the business will come around.
I love
Instead
that.
The other way. New York City, everybody you meet is, "Hi, who are you? What do you do? What can you do for me?" That's just how it starts.
Yeah.
Nashville's kind of great because it's usually hi, who are you? How old are your kids? Where do you go to church? What do you do for a living?
Sure.
It's like, oh, okay, I like this series of questions better.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the instant gratification mentality.
Okay.
So that mentality that you and I just talked about, serving others first, looking givers gain, is a very different mentality. And I think part of the reason the younger generation struggles is it's that instant gratification of, I want to do the work and see the results yesterday.
Right.
And that doesn't happen as a business owner. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for someone who's thinking of it like that? Well, I need to see results today.
That's just tough. We have some new guys on our team that are that way. Anybody that wants to get into real estate, I'm like, oh, you want to commit career suicide and make no money for 6 months?
You actually literally did say that.
I literally do say that to people when no money for 6 months, a little bit of money the first year. And then if you're good at it, you'll figure out that you make some money and you start building a business in the second year. Another great book, the guy that founded Churchill Mortgage, Mike Hardwick, in his book, Keep Chopping Wood. It's that mentality. Mm-hmm. We were talking offline before we started. I'm big fans of all the Navy SEAL stuff and that Navy SEAL mentality. Mm-hmm. It's that just keep working, work the problem. Whatever's in front of you, work the problem. There's no excuses. I don't want to hear excuses on things. I want to hear solutions. Let's get to solutions. And if you can't get it, go back to the beginning. Keep chopping wood. Keep working at it. And the results will come. But that's not fun. That's not sexy.
No,
that's
it's not.
I just get into real estate and sell big houses and make money. No, it takes years of just keep chopping wood, going to appointments, meeting people, sending CMAs, calling people back, failing, losing, starting over
showing
again, not
face.
worrying about it, showing your face.
All of it.
I've lost as many listings from listing appointments as I've won in my day. And it's just part of the game. And it's okay.
Yeah.
I've lost some that I was probably protected that thankfully I didn't get that listing because it would have been a nightmare.
Right.
But it's not sexy to people these days that do want instant gratification.
Right.
It just takes successful businesses they don't reinvent the wheel. They're not doing anything crazy. They're doing the boring stuff over and over and over and over again consistently. And as Dave Ramsey says, if you do that for 30 years, suddenly you're an overnight success.
Yes, exactly.
And it's like,
you only see the end result.
People
but
only
that
see the
whole
end result.
Journey goes unnoticed.
I was on the cover of whatever it's called. It's the Nashville Realtor magazine a couple months back. And it's talk about a magazine nobody wants to read. Like, it's a magazine that highlights realtors, and that's it. Like, nobody's reading this magazine.
Well, realtors read it.
That's it. That's the only thing. But there's 20,000 realtors in Middle Tennessee. You have to be in the top 100 to be on the cover. I was fortunate enough to be there, be on the cover.
Congratulations.
But people see that, and they're like, oh my gosh, you moved here a couple years ago, like, just overnight success. There you are. You're on the cover.
Sure.
I'm like, no, like, a lot of years of selling, just doing things that people don't consider to be flashy, just showing up every day. I'm first one in the office. I have the quote up on my wall. It's a framed quote from, the entrepreneur of entrepreneurs, right? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Sure. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
He says, be humble, be hungry, and always be the hardest worker in the room. That's it.
Hands down.
Just be humble, be hungry, be the hardest worker in the room. Keep showing up.
It's great. Was there ever a time you wanted to quit?
First year in real estate, I'll mess these numbers up. It'll be close.
Sure.
I think I made $67,000 in commissions the first year, and I had $63,000 in expenses. So my wife...
You were still profitable.
My wife at the end of the year was like, wait, so you made $4,000 this year? I was like, yep. And she's like...
High five, honey.
Does this get better? I said, I don't know. I hope so. And it did. Yeah, there's been hard times. You betcha. Yeah. I mean, I used to really take it personally when, I remember the first time I got fired from a listing. So we'd been on the market. Any house that's on the market for an extended period of time, no matter what you do as a realtor, all the solutions you put forward, at some point in time, it becomes the realtor must be the problem.
Right.
And nothing else has worked, so let's just replace the realtor. At some point in time, you get there. Inevitably, it happens, and it used to really hurt my feelings. Now I've learned how to communicate along the way and avoid that happening, but it happens. It used to really hurt my feelings, and I'd be like personally offended, and then you just realize, let's get back to chopping wood. Let's go get another one. Let's go. Get back to it.
And that's the theme, Brian, is you there's always going to be things that tear you down that make you want to quit. And not taking things personally is very hard for everybody, but especially when you have worked, it's almost like you feel like they're attacking you and you have to take the emotions out of it.
This is something my wife has taught me because I still, when something like that happens, you will knock me off my game for the whole day, maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hurt, I'm offended, I don't understand. And I say it like, so I just get right back to it. No, like sometimes it throws my whole game off for the whole day. Like I might as well just go home for the rest of the day because I won't be productive. But my wife has helped me through that a lot. She's an on-camera television person, was a local news anchor, has been a correspondent for Inside Edition, done Thursday Night Football for CBS, done all these things. Her
resume's too long to list here.
But she's like, as a female on camera, on TV, so many other females in the world want that job.
Sure.
And she's like, you think everybody's your friend, and they are not. And they're trying to just gun for your job. And you realize that people aren't your friend, and it's hard, and it really hurts your feelings. And she's like, another friend of hers, I think it's probably okay if I share names. She co-hosted the news with Ainsley Earhart in San Antonio, Texas. Okay. Ainsley got the job at Fox News. She's still the co-host of Fox and Friends in the morning. Megan got the job at Inside Edition, went to New York. So they both went to New York and did their thing.
Cool.
And I remember Ainsley told Megan one time, she said, if everybody's being super nice to you at work, you're not doing a good job. When people start being mean to you and coming at you, it's because you're doing such a good job that they want to take you down because they want that job. So she said, don't let it hurt your feelings if everybody's not being super nice to you. And it just reminded me, I was like, okay, as I do a better job, as I list bigger houses, as I serve more families, the other 20,000 realtors in town that want business, they don't like that. They want that.
Right.
And they might not all be my best friend.
Yeah. They might pretend to be.
And that's for any industry, anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So. You just never know. I promised we'd go into the pageant world a little bit. And I laugh because obviously we're friends, so I've heard some stories before this and did get your permission to go there. But talk to us about how that, because it did lead into what you're doing now in kind of a roundabout way. And I find that the more I talk to other entrepreneurs or business owners, that's the path, is like this led to this, and it all comes full circle. But I love that story. Can you talk a little bit about your time there and how that spun into what you're doing now?
Sure. And to what you just said, big picture, God's got a plan. He doesn't give you anything that you're not prepared for, but he prepares you along the way through. I was a firefighter when I first graduated high school out in Seattle. That led into a summer job working for a guy that ran pageants in the Pacific Northwest, which turned into, he said, hey, we're going to launch a new system down in Texas. I want you to leave the fire department, come live in Texas with me and be the young, hungry marketing guy. It's all life experiences. So I went and did that for 15 years. I can talk about it a little bit. And then when we moved from New York City to here, I had to get a different job because my wife was out of town all the time. And I got into real estate because it was flexible.
Sure.
But the experiences of, if you look at the top 10 like most stressful jobs in America, firefighting and event planning are always in like the top 5. They're just stressful. Yeah. It's always an emergency. It's someone's crisis all the time.
Right.
And you learn, it's just another day. There's going to be crises all day long. And we're just going to deal with them. And so now in real estate, which can be a very emotional thing for people,
Absolutely.
Can be stressful. People watch all these silly shows, on the reality shows on real estate. It's not that bad. But sometimes you do get catty agents and stressed out people. And it's just another, no problem. I was a firefighter. I've gone on 911 calls for years, been in the event business in pageants, dealt with, drama there. It's no big deal.
The pageant world is unlike any other.
Yes, we started. So the company was that I moved to Texas to help create what's called National American Miss. You can find it online
still
right
out
now.
There.
Still, it was for a time. It might still be the largest pageant system in the nation. It was like summer camp meets self-confidence school for like 6 to 18-year-old girls. No makeup on little girls, no swimsuit competitions. It was like a bunch of corporate guys created this summer camp for teaching self-confidence, and we had hundreds of girls every weekend. It was phenomenal, but it was just event planning. It was hotels all over the country, big ballrooms, big events, banquets, breakouts.
Planning all of it.
It was great.
How's that helped you be a dad? Because you do have to facilitate and coordinate, right? I'm kidding, but it is kind of
it's a lot of organizational, every day. When my schedule is jam-packed and we have to be all over the place, it's like, this is just another day in the event life.
Right.
This is no big deal. Like
3 kids and 3 different activities.
I've done this for years, all the different sporting activities and things, and this is easy.
All of it. There's those moments we talk about where, and I shared this as we were chatting before this, when I left corporate, I was still in corporate when I started my first MLM business, my first paycheck. I really do think it was like $47, maybe $37. There was a 7 in it. I know that. It wasn't, and I know it wasn't much, but I remember opening it and going, oh, like I can actually make money
they'll pay me
doing
for
something
this.
else besides this job that I have. And that was a pivotal moment for me because I realized what there was out there available. Right. I'd love to hear some of these, maybe just share 1 or 2 of these highlight moments for you that either gave you this awakening or reinforced what you're doing.
I guess 2 stories that come to mind that, again, I think this is kind of macro info. Any business you're in, anything you do, just do it with all your heart and you'll be great. But 2 stories that are key. One is when I first started in real estate, I was at a smaller boutique firm here in Nashville. And I had someone say to me, who at your firm do you want to be in 5 years? We're always thinking ahead. What are your, what's 1 year, 5 year, 10 year goals? Like in whatever your profession is, who do you want to be in 5 years? And I looked around and I was like, shoot, nobody?
No one here.
And that's when I realized like I needed to level up. I needed to go to a bigger firm. Sure. There needed to be people there pushing me. This is years ago. I remember I did my first big deal that I did. This was a number of years ago. It was a $2.5 million house. That was big in Nashville back then. And the lady that wrote the checks, that always just went in your mailbox when you got a commission check. And she walked over to me and handed me the envelope personally. And she said, in 24 years of doing this, this is the biggest commission check we've ever written. And I was new. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, 1, I'm really flattered. 2, I need to get to a different firm.
Right.
I need some people. If I'm already the big shot here, like we have a problem. I need people that are going to pull me. The second story I'll tell, this is a life lesson. It's the old term like act as if. I had a friend in New York. She had started a company down in the oil and gas industry when she lived in Houston. And she had this tech that gas companies could use to like analyze profitability of oil drilling rigs out in the ocean, like a whole big heady thing. And the funny thing is she'd written this software that did it. And she said, I can sit down with a Chevron exec, get all their information, plug it into this thing. And like that, I can tell them within a reasonable margin of error, way better than they can if their drilling rig is going to be profitable. Now that's a billions and billions of dollar decision that they're trying to make. Sure. She says, the problem is I can tell them like that. So she said, I have to go sit with them and get all the info and say, I'll get back to you in a couple weeks. And then I go do it. I have the answer. I wait a couple weeks so they think that I'm working really hard. And then I'd send it to them. And she said that the first deal I ever got, I went into the room with all these execs and they were pushing me on price and they weren't going to do it and this and that. And she said, I finally just stood up and I said, gentlemen, I said, I have another meeting after this. I have orders up to here for this. If you don't want to do this, don't do this, but I am on to the next meeting. She said, I had 0 orders. I had nothing. Like it was totally a bluff, but she just acted as if, and she said they immediately signed it. And she said 2 weeks later, I gave them their numbers and they were real happy and they made a bunch of money, but just act as if and level up. Have some confidence in yourself, in what you're doing. If you're selling something you believe in, that's key. Don't get into something that you don't believe in. Just be confident in it. Yeah.
And I love the other part about that first one that you shared, which congratulations, by the way. Maybe you're still the top agent ever at that firm.
I hope not.
Whenever it was. But I love the surround yourself with people that are better than you always. That is one thing I love about entrepreneurship, because in a corporate world, that's not what you want. You want to be the best one there.
Right.
And it's very different. And so people that have that thinking of, I want to be constantly getting better, but I don't need to be. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to surround myself with smarter people. And I don't have an ego that prevents me from saying or doing that. That's where it's at. So somebody who might be stuck in a job, and I'm not trying to like down a job. That's fine. I mean, it's all good. But that feels that way, go for something different.
It's the old Kobe Bryant mentality. Did you get 1% better today?
Yes.
And the only way to do that is to have people around you that are pulling you up, not down.
Absolutely. I love that.
So that's why I hang out with you.
Right.
On the Lyndsay Stafford show. So I can learn and get 1% better today from someone that is better than I am.
You know, there's a lot of really great people that we can put in our circle, right? To say, I want to get better and I'm going to be around these people. I love that. Well, I enjoy you so much, and I'm so grateful to have time with you, have you here, have you as a friend and as a partner in business. And Brian, when you think about people listening to this who don't know you, I want you to tell me just what makes you different. Why should they choose you to work with? And I can tell you, I'll say this while you start, that the heart and passion that you put into what you do is unparalleled, but the education, I mean, I learn from you every time I talk to you, and I ask you about, you know, a lot of things, not just the market and real estate. I know, well, as a market, you hear that all the time, but from walking through a home, which I've had the honor of doing with you, to staging it, you know, all the things. But you tell me, what do you want people to know?
Yeah, we can get like super heady and geeky about real estate data anytime you want to. Sure. I love that. That is my passion.
I know. So I open your computer at 5 a.m.
Yeah, I believe you should love where you live and that everyone deserves to have a trusted professional help them when they buy, sell, or trade real estate. That's been my mantra throughout. When you pull into your house, you should be like, oh my gosh, I'm home. I'm so happy to be home. This is my happy place. And that's my goal with people. I sell plenty of real estate, help a lot of families. It is not going to make or break if the person that I'm showing a house to today, offline before we started, I was telling you about, we just wrote an offer on a house for someone today. This house is amazing for them. We've been looking for a little while. We've passed on a whole bunch of them. My job is to get them in a house that works for them financially, for their family, socially, economically, all of that stuff, so that in 2 years, they're not like, that daggone real estate agent, like he just needed a deal and got us in a house. I want them to be like, I love this house so much. Like, dude, Brian was the best. Thank you so much. We love where we live. And if that's your goal, that's your goal. And I tell people this too. I say, I truly don't care who you use as a real estate agent. There are 20,000 agents in town. Everybody knows 5 real estate agents. As long as the one you use does a ton of business and is really experienced. Because there's only about 5% of the agents in town that do 90+% of the business. If you have one of them and they're fantastic and you have a relationship with them and you trust them, go. But if it's your neighbor or your friend or your sister's girlfriend's friends, aunts, that whatever that happens to have their license, don't use someone that's just hungry that needs the next deal. Use someone that you can trust to have your best interest in mind.
I love that. So, we're going to turn that into a commercial for you, Brian.
There you go.
And you know, the other thing, when I think about doing business with you or working with you, I know it's a relationship business. It's not transactional, and that makes it different for you. Thank you so much for being here today. I know you got to go to actually a listing appointment.
And then
Joe, I mean, you got all these things today. Thank you for coming today. I appreciate you so much. And really, this has been awesome. So for everyone listening, watching out there, thank you for tuning in I'll get it out there at some point, to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndsay Stafford Show, where we feature local legends here in Middle Tennessee. This has been my pleasure featuring Brian Cournoyer with the BC Team Real Estate Agent here in the greater Nashville area. You can find me on Lyndsay Stafford on Instagram. That's LYNDSAY Stafford, as well as LyndsyStafford.com. Thanks for tuning in.